Breaking right now, Meghan Markle is locked in crisis talks to try and salvage her $100 million Netflix deal as her cookery show tanks. Analysis from our royal mastermind, Angela Levin, shortly. But first, let me take you through this reporting from Radar Online. They say Diva Duchess Meghan Markle is all smiles online, but she's devastated by the scathing reviews of her new lifestyle show With Love Meghan. And Radar Online can reveal she and Prince Harry are locked in crisis talks for ways to salvage their $100 million deal with Netflix. A source tells the publication Meghan expected the usual haters to come after her, but the scale of negativity has been on another level that's truly shocking to her and Harry. He's always her biggest cheerleader and he's doing his best to shore her up, but it's not an easy task. They are now locked in crisis talks over their entire Netflix deal. She really hoped to win people over this time, and she's still clinging to that dream, even though it's obvious that the knives are out on both sides of the pond and people are labeling the show unrelatable and boring. Now, Radar reports that despite the dismal reviews, Netflix has already renewed the series for a second season, although, of course, it was already filmed at the time, so really it's just the second part of season 1. And their source says all hopes are riding on that, but there's a real worry at Netflix that people are only tuned in out of morbid curiosity, so the sequel is likely to be a total bust as well. And they report that if season 2 of her show tanks, insiders are now predicting Meghan will be tempted to pen, oh goodness, this is the bad news for King Charles and Prince William, a money-minting memoir. Angela Levin, of course they're in crisis talks because you can't save this show, can you? I mean, the interest was high because there was hate watching going on, but it's utterly plummeted. Look at that chart.
Wow. Yes. That looks terrible, doesn't it?
Yeah, as bad as the show.
Yes.
So what's she going to do here? Because I don't see how she can turn it around with Netflix. Can you?
No, I don't think she can. I think she'll try and offer them other things. She'll try and offer something royal, I expect, where she can punish anybody that she wants to and comes up with all sorts of stories. But I can't see that they will go ahead with anything else because she's very difficult to work with as well. She doesn't listen and she won't do what they tell her or, work together with somebody. And so it's very difficult. I think they'd be fed up with her, actually, because the public have really turned. And I think particularly in America, you're either popular or people just not interested anymore. You're out of the means of people who want to talk to you.
Okay, so here's where the drama kicks off. Meghan Markle's heavily hyped lifestyle show With Love Meghan has reportedly flopped so hard that she's now in emergency talks with Netflix to try and salvage her $100 million deal. What was supposed to be her comeback, clean living, pretty visuals, California mom vibes, has instead turned into a PR disaster. Critics are calling it boring, unrelatable, and just plain fake. And now Netflix is apparently panicking. Translation: it's a sinking ship. And instead of bailing water, Meghan might just be reaching for her next lifeline, a memoir. As you heard that right. Meghan allegedly kept diaries during her time at the palace. And she's teased before, most notably in her Cut interview, that she never signed an NDA. That's code for, I can say whatever I want.
And the thing is, Angela, I unfortunately believe this reporting is right in terms of the fact that she's going to be tempted to pen a money-minting memoir. We know that Vanity Fair reported that what we were saying for some time is true, that she's touting this post-divorce book, which is totally sick when you're in the middle of a marriage. I mean, honestly, I cannot even get my head around that. But she may well have to bring it forward. And you remember, Angela, in the late Queen Elizabeth II's dying days, Meghan Markle threatened in her now infamous interview with The Cut that she did have diaries during her time at Buckingham Palace, and the suggestion was, haven't signed any NDA, this could all be coming out. And I think it will come out because at the end of the day, she has turned herself into the moneymaker in the relationship. Harry is now a full-time philanthropist, although that is not going well at all. And so probably the book will come, and it might come before the divorce, is my prediction now.
Well, I'm not so sure about that with the book, because most people won't believe a word she said. I mean, she's actually told untruths for so long now, and been only want to be really nasty and make herself one that's always damaged or hurt, what she's had to deal with. I just don't think people will agree with that. I think people have absolutely had enough with it, that she had a wonderful opportunity. She had loads of money. She had a man she said she loved. And yet she is moaning and groaning. And here's more moaning and groaning. It's 5 years, I think, on Monday, next Monday, that she's been away from the royal family. So if you still can't somehow get together all that and move on and think about what you're going to do in the future, then it's really tragic. And I think she will, that's what she'll do. She'll attack Catherine a great deal. She'll attack King Charles, who was incredibly kind to her. I had a long chat with him, and when she just joined, and I was invited to one of the garden parties, and he was really praising her, what she could do for the country, and it was going to be very, very happy. He was very pleased, and he even says, and as a joke, I thought it was very funny, and I thought that's saying that he's very open-minded to that. But she'll try and knock him down, and I think most people will feel if you do that to someone who is fighting cancer and has been fighting since over a year, people will think you're absolutely disgusting, and they won't think, poor you. And it would be a big mistake, I think.
Yeah, and the other problem, and I love the fact that this is a problem, by the way, because it shows how difficult this tightrope is that she's walking. And it's a tightrope, by the way, of a snake. She's like a slippery snake, thinking about her future and thinking about all of the possibilities, Angela, because, hear me out on this, if she were to write this memoir early, before the marriage ends, she would have to praise Harry to the hilt, which then completely dents her credibility for the post-divorce memoir, which is where the real money is.
Ah, well said. Yes, there we are. And actually, that will also depend on who gets how much money, isn't it? And who gets the children. It would spread all over the place, and it's too dangerous to do that. And what you lose might be much more than what you gain.
Now, with the Netflix project circling the drain, there are whispers that Meghan might cash in on a new memoir. One that names names. One that attacks Catherine. One that exposes King Charles, a man who is currently battling cancer, let's not forget. Angela Levin didn't hold back. She says Meghan will come hard for Charles and Catherine, despite all the kindness they once showed her. This isn't just betrayal. This is premeditated monetization of royal pain. And here's the cynical but very real angle. This could all be about timing. Dan Wootton speculates that Meghan might release her memoir before a potential divorce, so she can still portray Harry as her Prince Charming. Because think about it. If she writes it after a split, she risks contradicting herself. If she writes it now, she gets to cash in, blame the monarchy, and still keep her image clean. This is strategy, not sentiment.
Yes.
The whole thing is a terrible mess. The whole thing is a disaster.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons is they can't compromise. One has no ability to do anything that she doesn't want, i.e. Harry. And she is always looking to win and to have more money and to knock people down. I mean, it's extraordinary how many people she wants to destroy, verbally or in any way that she wants, because they don't do exactly what she says. And she goes mad. If you see her talking and someone actually interrupts, her face goes into an absolute fury, and that includes her mother. So she's very, very on tiptoes, really, to make sure that somebody doesn't say what's right. And she didn't want her mother to come for the party to say, well done, Meghan, because she didn't think she would agree with all the things that she said, because obviously she knows that they're not true. So she doesn't want her mother there in case She said, no, that wasn't how it all was. So you stop her coming in. And I think to be somebody like that, you must be nervous the whole time, worried, anxious. What are they going to do? And I think she looked very unhappy, her mother, didn't she, when she was
time.
there?
Big time.
Yes.
Angela, there was another crazy moment this week, which again, a lot of people are reading into being a real dig at Harry and Meghan from one of the people who had at least formerly been one of their best friends in Hollywood. Now, this is Courtney Cox, the Friends actress, very, very famous. But you'll remember in Spare, Harry really threw Courtney Cox under the bus because in one of his admissions of illegal drug use, it was talking about the fact, I think, that it was mushrooms or something like that being handed out when he was staying at Courtney Cox's house. Now she's made a video with a guy who's a bit of a social media sensation, chef called Aria Hungry. And a lot of people are saying, Angela, that effectively this is her ripping the piss out of With Love Meghan. Watch.
You've been making your mac and cheese wrong your entire life.
He's such a bully. That's not true. Yours is good.
Not that good, though.
This might be better. Don't
F it up.
hate that. Big pot, 2 pounds of butter. Now melting.
No, now melt it.
Melt it. Add a boatload of this. A little at a time.
Obviously not all at a time, so yes. Until it looks like this.
I'm lactose intolerant and gluten free. This would be fun. Now we add salt. Now we're going to grate the cheese, sharp cheddar, mozzarella, and la gruyere. You just pop it in? I wouldn't do that. It becomes overwhelming. But let's do what he says because he's the chef.
Melt your cheese.
Boil some water. Salt it like the sea, they say. God, this is cavatappi.
3 minutes less than the box says. So your pasta doesn't taste like
No. Sorry.
tastes like
Undercooked.
tastes like
Poo. You're so mean. We're not going to throw out all the pasta water because we always know that's important.
Put it into the big pot.
Add the sauce. We need pepper.
No, we don't.
Why wouldn't you put pepper in your
Because
mac and
it's
cheese?
not a cacio pepe. Tell them what to do with this.
Take your finger, go like this.
Put this away. Next time you have to make mac and cheese, you don't have to deal with this.
You put it into what?
Whatever.
Tell
Figure it
people how to
out.
freeze
Whatever
things.
you freeze it on. They're not gonna put it on a plate.
I might.
Add the pasta water.
We're not going to put any pepper.
You wanna ask one more time?
So a little pepper, huh? Taking 1 layer of pasta. We're going to add mozzarella, another layer of pasta.
More authoritative.
Another layer of panko, what?
Add some panko.
Grate Parmesan on top. Now we're going to broil the top so it looks like
This.
Here are your green vegetables, these chives. Let's see if it tastes as good as it looks. Oh my God. The bechamel, the roux.
Super easy, super quick.
Complete lie. Took a long time, but worth every single bite.
I get this and you get that one.
All right, see ya.
Oh, Angela, firstly, I'm sorry for making you listen to that terrible language. What rude Hollywood people they are. But you see what I mean? I can understand why a lot of people are saying, hang on a moment, that's very much going to be taken as a dig towards With Love Meghan.
But here's the danger. When you play this close to fire, you get burned. Because even her allies are turning. The public has had enough of the moaning and groaning. The victimhood narrative is exhausted. And attacking a king with cancer? That's not brave. That's vile. Let's talk receipts. Meghan's been promoting herself as this hands-on, organic, homemade everything type. Banana bread at royal tours? Jam jars on Instagram? But guess what? She has a private chef. Yeah. A celeb chef who makes her dairy-free, sugar-free, gluten-free banana bread while Meghan takes the credit. And the irony? One of her old Hollywood friends, Courtney Cox, just dropped a cooking parody video that totally roasts the kind of aesthetic Meghan is selling. Is it a coincidence? Maybe. But people are starting to notice. Even her former friends are mocking her. This isn't just brand erosion. This is public mockery. And Meghan? She's losing control of the narrative.
Oh, of course it is. I mean, they're mocking her, aren't they? They're just doing it their own way. To be funny with someone who is very stupid and doesn't know what they're doing and just gets on with it. I mean, it's jokey. It's a bit, like the cartoon that was shown about them. People are now making fun. And I think if actually it's all right if they're little characters, but if they're actually people who are making fun of somebody who's trying to really show off and expects everyone to think that she's absolutely wonderful. It's just there to make you laugh. And who are you going to think about? I mean, just here, I can just say that Meghan, to my surprise, I read today in People that Meghan has her own private chef.
Oh,
And
yes,
I
we have this actually. Yeah. So this is a woman called Brooke Baysky, widely known as Chef Bay. And she's a private celebrity chef for VIP clients such as Adam Sandler, Meghan Markle, and Mindy Kaling. And she says, one day you're concocting homemade almond milk for your brother, and the next you're whipping up gluten-free, dairy-free, and refined sugar-free banana bread for Meghan Markle. So firstly, Angela, I'm like, oh my God, what a nightmare Meghan Markle is. Imagine saying to the chef, yes, I want it to be gluten-free, dairy-free, and refined sugar-free. So no wonder all of her stuff tastes so awful. That's my first point. Second point is, come on, she's got a private chef making her banana bread, which means that Meghan is clearly not making it herself, right?
Yeah, I mean, I got quite a shock about that because so one of the things she said she's really good at making banana cake and doing all sorts of things with banana. And if you remember when they went away to America, Australia, I think it was, and she made sure that all her staff cooked a banana bread every night for the people that she wanted to give it to, that quite a lot. She pretended she did the load, but she didn't because the staff had to do it, which was one of the reasons they were fed up with her. But also, she would be ringing them at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, let me taste what you've made. And they tasted, oh, this is awful, you have to do it again. So she made them do masses of banana bread. And so it's very funny when she actually, well, it's sort of funny in a nasty way, really, when she discovers, when we discover that she's got a cook who's going to do that all for her. What's she going to do? Is there's a factory that's going to doing all the jam for her, and it's supposed to be just on any old shop. It's not going to be just special for her. So all these things she's being so proud of and that everybody's got to look up to don't exist. So maybe that'll be with her book, that she'll say all these things, but actually, without much interest or looking, you will see it doesn't make sense.
No, none of it makes sense. Angela, you also have a theory after all of this week's drama involving the Centre Bali charity and Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. You have a theory that potentially Meghan actually has been wanting Harry to give up the charity in Africa. What have you been discovering on that front?
This next part is dark. According to Angela Levin, Meghan is isolating Harry. She's reportedly discouraged him from engaging with his charity work, like his African causes, and even manipulates his schedule to keep him under her control. Angela even hints that Meghan's pattern is about destruction. Not just of Harry's reputation but of his relationships, his self-worth, and his royal roots. This isn't just about a failing show. It's about a failing partnership. And let's not forget, this comes at a time when Meghan is reportedly planning a solo comeback, while Harry flounders without a platform. And just when you think it couldn't get worse, U.S. politics steps in. Republican Senator Mike Lee openly tweeted, "Let's deport him," referring to Prince Harry's immigration status. The Heritage Foundation's legal fight is gaining steam. Suddenly, Harry's not just a media problem, he's a political liability. And if Meghan drops a memoir dragging the monarchy while Harry is under fire from U.S. senators, you're looking at the collapse of everything they've built in America.
Well, I think that she is on a sort of destroying route, and she wants to, she's now not friendly with his family. He now doesn't have much work to do, and that rather than encouraging him, she makes him feel that he's worthless, and she won't go to Sanderboil, and she doesn't want him to go either. And I think there's this terrible feeling of destruction, and that she wants him there, but she doesn't want him there. She's busy, so he has to go off somewhere. So she says he can come back. But she's actually manipulating him all the time. And I think that she doesn't want him there. Otherwise, she would have gone over there. She would have behaved very nicely, and she would have helped him. But the fact that she's not doing that and making him and he's feeling worse and worse, and she's feeling worse and worse in her own way. But it's very worrying, actually. And without this, perhaps Invictus Games will also get fed up, because I do know in Canada, which is the one just finished in last autumn, that they were furious by the way she took over and does the speeches and makes Harry look ridiculous. They don't like it. They don't want her there. But she hangs on because she wants it. She seems not to be able to bear him doing something really good, because she will have to do it even better.
I know, Angela, it hasn't got easier politically for Prince Harry or Meghan Markle this week, though. The Republican Senator Mike Lee, and I love this guy, his account on X is
yes.
based Mike Lee. And he's actually become the first senator. I know there have been congressmen, but he's become the first senator to publicly call for Prince Harry's deportation. And he simply posted in 3 words the devastating line, "Let's deport him." And of course, the Heritage Foundation's fight to reveal whether Prince Harry lied on his immigration records is not over. And it's just interesting, isn't it, that there might be a bit of a head of steam building up on the American right over this issue. What did you make of it?
Yes, I think so. But actually, I found that Mike Lee didn't impress me very much, because his reason for saying so was because King George hated people going right back to very early on, and that the will of American voters, he didn't care a thing about it. And so he then says, let's deport him. But I think he was going back to 2 or 3 King George, before Prince Charles, now king, was even born. So I think that I don't see that what King George III did makes much saying for
I mean it's effectively, isn't it, because King George III was on the throne until 1820, so at the time of the American War of Independence. So he's making a point, isn't he, which is that, Harry, you don't come over here. We fought this war against you in the 1800s. You don't come over here and tell us to get rid of our guns and get rid of our First Amendment. So that's, I think, why he raised King George III. Yeah. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. But he's I think making a point that will go down very well with the MAGA Republicans, put it that way. And also this week, Angela, growing fears over the commitments of King Charles, because The Sun reported that he's actually been doing so many engagements, even though he's continuing this cancer treatment. I think it was something like 10 engagements in 18 days. And what's interesting is The Sun reports that Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, is chomping at the bit to do more major engagements, wants to take the pressure off King Charles. Surely that makes sense, right? Like, why not have Sophie do more?
Yes, I think she is doing a lot more, actually. I couldn't quite understand this. I mean, she's now known as the royal family's secret weapon.
Yes.
And she goes to those things about gender equality, avoidable blindness, because her sister had very bad eyes when she was very little. And she goes to very, very difficult and dangerous countries, Sudan, Baghdad, Congo, and she talked to them about being unfair to women and she must give them a chance. And she's even been hosted by European Parliament, which some people are very, very pleased about and think it's wonderful. And I think she is doing things that she really, really cares about. Maybe not the very best things, because I imagine that King Charles wants to hold on to those because he's waited so long to be king. But she's not left with nothing to do. I mean, she works much harder than she used to. And she's allowed to do all those things, especially for women, that she wants to do. And she's one of those people who, as she gets older, the more beautiful she gets. She's got that wonderful inside loveliness, I think. And I think she works very hard. And she's also brave, because if you go to these countries and you say, you mustn't do that to women and you must, be fair and honorable, you're risking your life. And so I don't think she's not getting enough. She also has to, see her son, who's much younger than her daughter, who's living in doing a degree. So I'm not quite sure that, although she says she wants to do things, she just might not have enough time or enough energy.
Of course, and she was a favourite of the late Queen Elizabeth II,
Queen, a
wasn't
daughter,
she?
yes.
Yeah.
Queen felt that she was really a daughter, and she went to a church with her very, very often, and she saw her most days when she began to be really ill, because they lived very close, and so that she would go in and have a chat, and the Queen adored her, actually, very much, because she could relax with her. And she also knows, this is really important for the Queen, that she cared very much about the royal family and the country and the Commonwealth. And that's what really pleased her. And she worked very hard, but she may not have worked in the areas that they say that she wants, but I'm sure she's fine and she's enjoying it, and she's always smiling. She's never looking very cross or, nobody's asking me to do anything. She doesn't moan.
So what are we watching unfold here? A media empire in crisis. A marriage under strain. A brand that's become a parody of itself. Meghan might think a memoir will save her. But from where I'm sitting, it looks like the final nail in the coffin. And if she dares go after Catherine or King Charles in the state he's in right now, she'll lose whatever sympathy she had left. This isn't reinvention. It's implosion. And it's happening in real time. Alright, royal watchers, your turn. Smash that like button if you're done with the Markle melodrama. Drop a comment. Do you think Meghan will actually release a memoir? And would it help or completely destroy her brand? And don't forget to subscribe. We've got more royal reveals coming up.